get publicized on television or radio, on a podcast, you want to leverage that. And for example, let's say that I was on Oprah. I would want, of course, to get the clip of that television appearance and then promote myself, put it on my website, share it on social media, and leverage that. I can't expect that one appearance that might, be in a rerun once or twice later is going to be that catalyst, like you said. I know people who have been on television, the Today Show, on Good Morning America, Dr. Oz, and just like your friend, it's like, whoa, I had millions of people see me on this show, but nothing happened. That's because they didn't understand that you have to leverage every single appearance. And not only, especially in the online world, yes, your name is going to always show up in the search engines, but you also have to look at the types of books that you're writing and those keywords and categories. You have to actually understand how online marketing can work for you. It's not just about your name or the title of your book. It's actually about helping people find you through those keywords and categories. So you have to optimize everything you do, meaning you have to know what keywords and categories your book falls under so that real people can find you. And another thing, if you have your book on Amazon, and let's say it's a Kindle book and it becomes a bestseller in the Kindle world, Amazon often will show your book in the same category, like it'll say other people bought this book, if you're looking at a certain book, or if your book is popular enough, Amazon will actually send emails out with suggestions about books that they may like. And this is all done, Amazon does this. This isn't anything that you pay for. This is something that Amazon will do based on whatever their internal factors are. But that is a possibility. But just like you said, Lillian, it is a work process. You just don't say, oh yeah, here we go, I wrote a book, they will find me. It doesn't work like that.
And case in point, for example, I wrote a book in 1996 called Teenagers, A Bewildered Parent's Guide, and it was published by a now defunct publishing company. Well, guess what, folks? It doesn't matter. It's still in the top 15 on Amazon.com. People are still writing to me and asking me about it and asking for my advice. And it's because it's a book that is still very current with what's happening now that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's a book on teenage behavior. Well, we all know everybody has a teenager. And that book will go on forever. And that's what you want. Because yes. Amazon goes through and gets rid of some of the books that don't sell well because there's so many more books that are coming in.
Well, yes, and especially in the digital space with Kindle, there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of new Kindle books being published each and every day.
Exactly.
So there is a lot of competition. So, yes, you have written quite a few books. I'd like to know more about that.
Well, it took me a long time to get there. And this interview is about you another time. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are writing a book, know that you have to have more than just stars in your eyes. You're not going to get an instant income. If you read some of Stephen King's blogs, what he used to do to get noticed the first time out of the gate was to pack his trunk with lots of books, drive to different cities, and he hawked them on the street corners.
Dr. Wayne Dyer told similar stories about taking physical books to bookstores and doing book signings and going out to public speaking. With that said, because of the online age, what makes it really nice now is, number one, with the advent of Kindle digital publishing and Create Space or some of the other public publishing venues, you don't have to buy hundreds or thousands of books anymore. You can buy books one at a time. So if you want to get known, a really good way for an author to get out there and do something similar to what Stephen King and Dr. Wayne Dyer did would be to, order 25 or 50 books and then go set up an appointment at your local library. So it could be a talk and a book signing, and have those books available and go in and talk about your books, because people are very interested in the writing process. They're interested in the characters, how the characters were developed, and you would be surprised that once you go speak in person, how many people are going to come up to you, and of course they will buy that autographed book. But the main thing is, once they become your fan, they will be looking for more and more books from you, and they will buy them. So in the marketing world, another thing again is fiction is totally different than nonfiction.
Yes.
So most of my experience personally is in the non-fiction side. The books I've personally written are, for example, I wrote about Pinterest for business or social media. So my books, I often will go out and talk about, for example, how to use Pinterest for business. And then, of course, I am perceived to be the expert because I'm the author of a book called Pinterest for Business. So for my business, of course, that's been very good for me, and it has led to not only other speaking engagements, but I've been able to also teach at local universities about social media and marketing, and that is the result of having books published on Amazon and Kindle. So it's a very interesting line. And then, of course, on the fiction side, I think you mentioned it. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to be this best-selling author and make all this money and quit my day job and all these things. And often that is the path to disappointment, because it is very difficult to make what we would consider a living in the world, and publishing has really changed a lot.
And will continue to change.
Yes. So be realistic in your expectations of what you hope to get from a book. And I think the big key is just like you said, you have to keep marketing your book and use not only all the free services that are out there, but you might have to invest in, for example, a Facebook ad campaign to promote your book. That can be very inexpensive, as little as $5 a day in some cases. You will have to learn about marketing. A lot of times, what I notice in a lot of author groups is whenever they see somebody talking about teaching them how to market their book, there'll be a whole bunch of people, oh, this is a scam. I can just look this up on the internet. Well, yes, you probably could look up a lot of the information on the internet, but you have to know the right questions to ask. So sometimes when these people are offering these courses that range from, $27 to $97 or sometimes more, it's because they have that learning curve. And if you could cut a year off of your learning curve, what could that mean to you? So what I say to that is do your own research and educate yourself, but don't think that everyone who has a marketing course on books is trying to scam you. I've seen that a lot, and it's a perception because it's online. It must not be true.
Yeah.
And
I've run into it myself, but I've been doing this for over 20 years, so I have appreciation for other people who do market or help authors. There's one other topic we haven't covered, and then we'll go on to your radio program. Tell them about how important reviews are for their book.
Reviews are really important, and reviews are important not only for authors, but in today's world, reviews are important for all businesses, because what is a review? It is a testimonial from a reader. And for example, on Amazon, they have really cracked down on the reviews. So normally the reviews must be from a verified purchaser. You'll actually see a little tag on the reviews where it'll say verified purchase. So that can tell you, yes, this person really bought this book. So the odds of it being a real review is pretty good. But think about it. If you have no reviews, people go, well, nobody's bought the book, and so they haven't reviewed it. If you have 5-star reviews or 4-star reviews, and people are saying what it is they like about the book, and there's even a place on Amazon, for example, where it'll say, was this review helpful? So it gives the readers an opportunity to find out what other readers are thinking about the book. Sometimes people will complain about they didn't like let's say it's a Create Space book, they didn't like the paper it was printed on or something like that. But if they're talking about the content of the book, that certainly can help you to get more readers, because a review is going to tell the reader, is this the type of book that I would enjoy or that I would get value from reading? And of course, if you have a 1-star review that says, I didn't like the paper, people are going to discount that. But if you have a lot of 5-star reviews saying, I really enjoyed this, it flowed well, the characters are well developed, whatever it is that people say about your book, that can help you to sell more books.
And if you can get a review from Kirkus, or if you get a review from some of the other Barbara Vay, some of the other heavy hitters, it does make a difference. How do I know this? Because I've gotten reviews from all of them. And people know who they are in the industry. They trust their judgment. Therefore, they are experts, and they are more inclined to buy your book.
Yes, and another thing I think authors should also look into, that is a popular marketing tool online, are blog tours. There are some that are very reputable, and that could be an interesting way to promote your book to your potential readers. And I'm sure that most authors should also look into some of the Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups for authors related to their genre. That can be very helpful, because often people share what's working and what's not working in those groups. And of course, you have like-minded people to talk to.
All right, I think we've covered authors and their marketing. Let's go to your other love, which is your radio show.
Great. Well, what I do is I am a host for Business Innovators Radio Show, and I interview authors and thought leaders in business-related topics, which really can include almost anything, because, for example, people who write books are in the business of being an author, and I talk to people about what they do, and it is typically a real simple conversation, but always educational and entertaining.
Which is what you need to do, because if you don't make it entertaining, people will not stick around.
Right.
And your audience is everything when you're an internet radio host, or even if you're on a regular FM or AM radio, folks. You need to have your viewers interact with you and involved with what you're doing, or you just might as well go home.
Right. Well, the interesting thing about the Business Innovators radio show is I'm not the only host, so we really have a diverse program. And the nice thing about online radio is that it is portable. So I could be exercising at the gym or taking a walk, and I could